Hi guys, we're back with another Halloween review, and today we're going to be discussing Halloween 2 from 1981, More of the Night He Came Home. Although the movie came out 3 years later, it's still set on the same night as the original Halloween in 1978, so they had to bring the cast back who are 3 years older and try and make them look as if they were still in 1978. We had a bit of an issue with Laurie Strode, obviously, because she had to wear a wig throughout the movie, and you could tell it's a wig. Maybe when you're watching it as a child, you didn't really notice it, but watching the movie as an adult, you can see that she's wearing a wig. Donald Pleasence still looks the same, and most of Haddonfield still looks pretty good for Halloween 1978. So after surviving the attack from Michael Myers, Laurie Strode gets taken to hospital and she's looked after and cared for by the hospital staff, and that's where most of the movie takes place, in the hospital. This one was directed by Rick Rosenthal, who also directed Halloween Resurrection, and we'll talk about that at another time, but he did a really good job, I think, overall directing this movie. Now, it's going to be big shoes to fill from taking over from John Carpenter, who made a fantastic horror movie, and to do a part 2 for this movie that John Carpenter didn't want to do and didn't even want a sequel to Halloween. It was going to be hard to do that and please everyone and please the fans, but I think what they had to do first and foremost was please the studio. The studio wanted it, they wanted a sequel, and they wanted to churn out a reason for Michael Myers still being alive and coming after Laurie Strode again. And the reason that they thought of to come after Laurie again was that Laurie was his sister. Now, I don't have an issue with Laurie and Michael being brother and sister. I think it was a good twist at the time for Michael to come back. If it was all set on that one night and Halloween 1 and 2 was the only two movies, that would have been okay for them to be brother and sister. But as you'll find out in future sequels, they take that over the top, and he's after his niece, he's after everybody and his whole family. And that takes away the mystery of Michael Myers. The reason that we loved Halloween was that he was killing people for no reason. To make them brother and sister, it causes questions and confusion for part 1. I know that they made a TV movie for part 1 and they added scenes in to give us an excuse for them being brother and sister, but it doesn't really cut it. You watch Halloween 1 without the TV, there's a TV version that adds scenes in. Watch without that and it's a great movie, but when you're adding in the brother and sister aspect, they're trying too hard. But then, like I said, you're asking questions. Why? Okay, if Michael's getting out to kill his sister, why is he then stalking Annie? Why is he stalking Linda and going to kill them? There's no need to do that. He's after Laurie, he's not after any of those guys. So it causes confusion if you're a fan of the original. So there's pros and cons of them being brother and sister. I would say it's more of a pro if it was only Halloween 1 and 2 that existed, but it doesn't, so it's more of a con for me. Now, everybody loved Nick Castle as Michael Myers, but we couldn't really compare him to anyone else because he was the original Michael Myers. Now that we've got another person playing Michael Myers, I don't know why Nick Castle didn't play him, but Dick Warlock came on to play Michael Myers, and they used the same mask as the original. The mask does look a lot different because Dick Warlock's face is a bit different, a different shape, and the mask was under Deborah Hill's bed for 3 years apparently, so the mask looks a little bit worn. So I think that was a bit of an issue because it does look like a 3-year-old mask when it shouldn't do. It should only look 3 hours old. So they could have maybe tried to do another version of the Captain Kirk mask and redo it again, but they didn't. They decided for budget purposes for some reason just to use that one. So it does look good. Dick Warlock does look good. It's not Dick Warlock's fault for what I'm about to say that I didn't like about him, and that was the overemphasis of what was great about Nick Castle's Michael Myers. For example, I think that Dick Warlock walked too slow. They probably said to him, you need to walk slow because that's what Nick Castle's Michael Myers did, so let's see it. And he done it too many times and he walked way too slow for me. I'm not saying it was bad, but compared to the original Michael Myers, it just wasn't the same, and you could tell that it wasn't the same. Now, for continuity, because it's the same night, he really probably should have done his homework and done a little bit more watching of the original Halloween and maybe try to walk the same at the same pace as Nick Castle. That would have made the movies flow together a little bit better. So it wasn't a bad Michael Myers, it just wasn't the same as Nick Castle, and that was what I wanted. I wanted them to be the same as Nick Castle's Michael Myers. Now, there's just one thing that maybe Halloween 2 done better than the first Halloween movie for me personally, and that was the cast. We brought Jamie Lee Curtis back, who was a lot better in this one than she was in the original. She had a few more roles in some horror movies as well, and obviously Donald Pleasance came back, so the two core characters came back. Sheriff Brackett came back as well for a brief cameo. So we had the main cast back, which was great, the cast that were actually the decent actors in the first movie, and then we were introduced to new characters that were in the hospital. Lance Guest played Jimmy as well, so Jimmy and the rest of the cast were great. I think that the acting in this movie was a lot better than the acting in part one, that's what I'm saying. And we got to know the characters more in this one, so when they were killed, then we felt more for them than we did for the characters in Halloween 1. So I think that they learned from what maybe they made mistakes in from Halloween 1, and they improved on it in Halloween 2. Another thing that I wasn't too fussed about was we got to see more kills and more blood. Was it necessary? I don't think so. I think that I would have liked to have seen it without all the blood and maybe less kills, because again, it is the same night. It's supposed to be all the same night, so for it to go from hardly any blood to a total bloodshed, it was a little bit too excessive at times. Again, it's a sequel to Halloween, 3 years later realistically, so we're wanting to see more. We want to see more blood, we want to see more gore, especially since Friday the 13th started coming out. That Friday the 13th came out in 1980, so they were bringing out more blood and more death scenes. So I think that Halloween had to act fast. The studio had to act fast because they knew that Friday the 13th was going to be a new horror franchise, so the Halloween franchise had to pick it up a bit. So yeah, I think more blood was necessary in a way, but I could have lived without it. Now we'll quickly talk about the ending of the movie. I think the ending was a good ending to the Michael Myers and the Laurie Strode saga. However, it wasn't to be the end of the Halloween franchise, which again we'll talk about, but it was a good ending. We see Dr. Loomis facing off against Michael Myers, as well as Laurie Strode facing off against her brother Michael Myers. It's the first time they've seen each other face to face, knowing that they're brother and sister. Well, he already knew that she was his sister, but she's like, oh my god, that's my brother, he's trying to kill me. So it was a good way of showing that she's a bit more scared because it's a brother that's trying to kill her. So he's coming into this room, she shot him in the eyes, and he's burned alive, and we're assuming that Dr. Loomis was killed as well. So it was a good ending. We've seen that Dr. Loomis finally caught Michael Myers after all these years, 15 years. He knew that Michael Myers was this evil incarnate, and he's finally killed him, but obviously he's killed himself and he's sacrificed himself in the meantime to save somebody. So he saved Laurie Strode. So it was an epic ending for Dr. Loomis and an epic finale for Michael Myers, and Laurie Strode managed to get away. So it was a good ending. If that was it, Halloween 1 and 2, that'd be a good ending. But as with other sequels in the Halloween franchise, they had to change it up a bit to carry on with the franchise. So I think that was one of the issues that I had with the franchise, was the constant, this is a finale, no, I think we've made a bit more money, so let's make another sequel. So I think that's an issue within the Halloween franchise, which again we will talk about, but I'm talking about Halloween 2 at the moment, and I think it was a really good ending. I think the ending of Halloween 1 was more mysterious and better because we don't know what happened, and that was it. It was great. But I think people who need closure in movies, I think they would probably prefer the Halloween 2 ending. So that's all from a Halloween 2 review, guys. What do you think of it? Did you like the brother and sister introduction aspect, or did you hate it? I'm on the fence with it because I do like it in the sense that it's Halloween 1 and 2, but I don't like it for continuity purposes. It's just a way of making Michael chase Laurie, which I didn't really like. I like the fact he was chasing anybody. So leave your comments down below, let me know what you thought of that. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.